And welcome back to the Richcast. Sorry about that delay. I was already in the middle of this, and then YouTube decided to cut off my stream because I guess because of the NFL footage, which is kind of crappy. Because I figure if you're talking about football, you should be able to use football footage, fair use, and all that. But you know what? I'm just trying to have fun today, so let's forget it. Instead, I will have this completely irrelevant footage of Spider-Man stuff from the channel Mr. Sunday Movies, one of my favorite YouTubers. Has nothing to do with football, so I don't think they're going to flag me for this. Anyways, so sorry about that. But anyways, let's get back on topic. I'll have to obviously repeat some information because people will probably just watch this now. Yeah, but I was just streaming, had to start over. It doesn't matter. We're talking Super Bowl 58. We're talking movie trailers and commercials during the Super Bowl. Maybe we'll even talk about the Super Bowl halftime show a little bit. Let's talk about Peter Parker as a football player. Well, Marty, man, he'd be the best football player on any team that he's on because he's Spider-Man. Anyways, so let's get back into talking about Super Bowl 58. So basically, it's going to be Chiefs versus 49ers. What I was saying is, obviously I'm a big fan of the 49ers, and I hope that they win. But I think that statistically, based on the seasons, we're talking about a 49ers team that is having their best season since Steve Young in the 90s. And then we're talking about a Chiefs team that I think was very lucky to get into the Super Bowl. I know that Patrick Mahomes and co, they've won 2 already. But, statistically, it was Patrick Mahomes' worst year as a starter. But, they were able to beat the Ravens by some miracle. Everybody thought the Ravens were going to the Super Bowl, and then the Ravens choked. So, you can have that little debate, like, did the Chiefs win that game, or did the Ravens just lose? Whatever. And I know that a lot of people are kind of saying that on the other hand with the Detroit game with 49ers, but that's different because the Ravens and Chiefs game was kind of like this stalemate the whole time versus the Detroit Lions had a really great first half in the NFC Championship game, but then the 49ers came out on top with a clearly dominant second half to win that game. Yes, AJ Bowles, I came back. I am here after being interrupted by YouTube guidelines, even though fair use and blippity bloppity bloop doesn't matter. Apparently, the NFL just, whatever. Without the NFL, there's no professional football. So I guess I can't give them too much crap. But anyways, let's take a look at that list. I was going to say list again, technically again, but, for anybody who wasn't part of the stream that just got canceled. So the movies that are officially going to be having trailers during the Super Bowl is Deadpool 3, Inside Out 2, Twisters, the long-awaited sequel to Twister, the 90s film, Quiet Place Day 1, One Love, If, starring Ryan Reynolds, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Wicked, the Broadway musical, now turned into a movie, and the upcoming Alien film, with possibly a Kong Godzilla trailer thrown in there, and of course we're going to get commercials like the Arnold Schwarzenegger State Farm commercial. Marty Man says, you didn't get a strike, did you? YouTube, I don't know if they really do the old strike system anymore. It said that they cut off the stream because it was showing someone else's footage, the football stuff that I was showing. Is that a strike? I'll have to check that later. But the fact that you are watching this and commenting means that they haven't gotten rid of my channel, so at least let's be grateful for that. Yeah, AJ says, already saw a trailer from one of them in Quiet Place 3. Yeah, a few of these already have trailers, but obviously some of these, like Deadpool 3, this is going to be our first look at Deadpool 3. Now, I don't think it's going to be including any of the footage, I don't think, that they just filmed. Probably this is going to be a trailer made of all the footage that they filmed before the strikes, back when they were filming earlier in 2023. Oh, here we go. Williams fan says, a little off topic, but when do you think we'll get a third Sonic movie? Well, they just released the teaser, the logo teaser for Sonic 3, just like a week or two ago. So, I think we're going to be getting it pretty soon. And also, Jim Carrey, who said that he was going to retire and never act again, has officially come out saying that he is going to still be Robotnik / Eggman in Sonic 3. So I think that Sonic 3, well, they got to film it. It's probably still a couple years out, but we are going to be getting Sonic 3 Anyways, so let's dissect each of these Super Bowl trailers. We have Deadpool 3. Um, I'm really excited for Deadpool 3. It's going to be the only official MCU movie this year, which is crazy because usually we get 3 or 4 MCU movies, or we have been getting 3 or 4 MCU movies. But, Kevin Feige, he was talking about how they have to take a step back and do quality over quantity. Obviously, a lot of people got overwhelmed with so many Disney Plus shows and so many movies that they didn't really feel were relevant to them. I mean, I'm a massive Marvel fan, and I'll enjoy anything that they put out. But I realize that for the general movie consumer, maybe they can't keep up with Secret Invasion and the Marvels and everything else, and keep it all cohesive in their brains. But like hey, we're watching this Spider-Man video right now, and it's talking about like the multiverses and everything. For a comic book fan, that's just kind of like how it is. There's tons of correlating stories that overlap on each other, and then a bunch of stories that have nothing to do with the rest of the continuity, but they might be tied in later. I mean, I feel like people forget that when we were in like phase 1 and 2 of the MCU, that it was mostly just individual stories, and it wasn't really until phase 3 that the whole Thanos Infinity Saga really sort of like came together. Now, obviously, there's a whole like sort of restructuring going on because they're not really going to be doing the Kang stuff anymore. Jonathan Majors has got himself into a lot of legal trouble, and I don't think they're going to recast. I think they're just going to sort of silently go in a different direction with that, but, we'll see. Audrey says, hello, RichAlvarez. It's been a long time, my fellow. How's it going, and how's your weekend? Weekend's pretty good. I'm about to watch my favorite team go off against the Chiefs, who are, my mortal enemy. So, it's going to be a really good Super Bowl. Yeah, Optimus Prime says, I predict San Francisco wins the Super Bowl. So do I. Yeah. So, moving on to Inside Out 2. That's another trailer that's going to be happening during the Super Bowl. I mean, cool. I liked Inside Out 1. Did it really need a sequel? I don't think so. But, it's all in good fun. Twisters. Oh, man, I'm really excited for Twisters. And, that movie could end up being total crap. But Twister, the original Twister from, I want to say 94 or 95, that was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I can't possibly imagine Twisters being better, but I just like the idea that, it's going to be set in the same universe, the same continuity, and, a new team hunting, these tornado hunting groups. I think, if you've never seen the movie Twister with Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, go do yourself a favor and watch Twister. It's an incredible film. Quiet Place Day 1, I'm not super excited for that, just because, I enjoyed A Quiet Place. I enjoyed A Quiet Place 2 a little bit less. A Quiet Place Day 1... It's like, did we really need a prequel to A Quiet Place? I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll end up being the best one of the series. One Love, that is the movie I know nothing about. I know nothing about that movie, but it's a trailer that's going to happen during the Super Bowl. If, starring Ryan Reynolds, and that's really all I know about it, besides, I think that John Krasinski, who also created A Quiet Place, John Krasinski, you might know him as Jim from The Office, he directed this movie, If, starring Ryan Reynolds. So Ryan Reynolds is going to be in 2 movie trailers during the Super Bowl, Deadpool 3, obviously, and then this movie called If, which is supposed to be kind of a fun fantasy movie. So I look forward to seeing that trailer and kind of figuring out what that's about. And then we have Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I gotta say, as much as I love the Planet of the Apes movies, I've really not enjoyed the titles of the last few of them, like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Like, I hate the of the. It's too many ofs, like, I don't like it when it's blank of the blank of the blank. It just feels too cluttered, and for some reason I guess just because they want to add, additional titles to these Planet of the Apes movies, and I would more go with Planet of the Apes, the Kingdom, or, have that subtitle, not Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's too clunky, but I am looking forward to whatever Planet of the Apes they throw at me. Wicked. We're going to be getting our first trailer for Wicked during the Super Bowl. And if you're not familiar, Wicked is the Broadway musical based off of the Wicked Witch of the West from the Wizard of Oz stories. There are pros and cons to this. I think that, at least according to some insiders, like, I watch a lot of John Campea, he says that during CinemaCon, I think it was, they got a 10-minute behind-the-scenes peek at this, and he went from being not interested at all to being very interested in this project. So I'm sure the movie is going to be great. My only cons with Wicked are going to be the same cons that I had with the Broadway show itself. Now, I'm not arguing like the music itself. I know I've got friends that are really into the music of Wicked. I know that Wicked has some incredible songs. My only con is that I strongly dislike when you take a beloved villain, a character that represented like true evil and is the antagonist, and then you try to give them this redeeming backstory. It's like, oh, this is why they did what they did, and we're humanizing them. It's like, I understand that there's a certain human appeal to that because in real life, there's potentially no such thing as like good and evil, potentially. There's all these layers of gray. Nobody's born evil. Like we all have, there are things that happen to us that made us do certain choices. That's great for therapy and real life. I'm going to get a lot of hate comments. But in movies, it's so important to have good and evil. That's why Lord of the Rings is the best, There is no redeeming qualities about Sauron, he's just the epitome of evil. The Wicked Witch of the West was supposed to represent evil. So again, my only cons with Wicked is just that base storyline, but I'm sure the movie will be a great representation of the Broadway show. Another example is, Sleeping Beauty, one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. Maleficent is the embodiment of evil. And then they made those terrible Angelina Jolie movies where it's like, oh, but she's a person, and blah, 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 blah. Okay, I don't want to, like, drill into that too much, but you get the idea. I really just don't like it when we humanize villains. It's like, they're villains because they serve the purpose of being the villain. Just let them be villains. Anyways, and the last official movie trailer that's going to be during the Super Bowl is Alien. Now, I remember reading about this project. It's Ridley Scott, I think it's directing, or is at least involved. And I'm just mega excited. Or this could be potentially for the Alien upcoming TV show, but I think this is for the Alien movie. There's a lot of stuff going on in Alien. There's a lot of stuff going on in Predator, by the way. If you didn't see Prey on Hulu, go and watch Prey. It's the prequel to Predator. Maybe the best Predator movie. And then we're also getting a new Predator, we're going to get Prey 2 and a new Predator set in the future. We're getting 2 new Predator movies. And the only reason I bring up Predator is because obviously Alien and Predator are, connected. I really do hope that eventually we can get back to doing an Alien versus Predator, but have it be way better than the Alien versus Predator movies that we got. So we'll see. And again, yeah, Godzilla versus Kong 2, or Con X Zilla, or whatever it's called. I forget exactly its title. I'm excited for that because I love Godzilla. Anyways, let's get to some of the comments that people have been saying. Audrey says, it's been raining on Northeast Brazil today, and I'm just watching 2 YouTubers. It's Sonic and Amy Squad. Nice. I take Inside Out 2 over Toy Story 5. Toy Story 4 was a cash grab, as 3 was a perfect inclusion. I agree. I think Toy Story 3 was perfect. I like Toy Story 4, but it was a little unnecessary. I hope the Chiefs will keep going to more Super Bowls. Like I said, I really hope the Chiefs from Kansas City wins the Super Bowl against the 49ers. That's your opinion. And again, I'm not here to crush anybody's hopes and dreams. It's a game. It is, at the end of the day, it's just a game. But I've been a lifelong 49ers fan. And just once, and you guys, again, Kansas City, you guys just won a Super Bowl last year. So you don't need it. We need it. We haven't had a Super Bowl win since Steve Young in the mid-90s. And, gosh, I've been waiting my whole life as an adult to see them win again. Yeah, stop giving sinister villain sympathy, Cruella and Maleficent. Son Goku says, Richie hates everything, laughing my ass off. I don't hate everything. I have strong opinions on things. Hashtag poor Richard hates everything. LMAO. Uh, I wish they'd give the Alien series a rest. Well, I like Alien, and I really enjoyed Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I know that they're not for everybody. You know, I think that when anybody ever says, I wish they'd give it a rest, like people mention, like, oh, like that series is tired out, or people mention superhero fatigue, I think that it's just a matter of a string of movies that didn't appeal to everybody. Like, after, and we're talking about the DC and Marvel side of things, after things like Black Adam and the Marvels, Aquaman 2, like all these, like, of course superhero fatigue is going to be a thing because these movies weren't like stellar, but we still have like a Guardians 3 and a Deadpool 3 coming out, which, and I can guarantee Deadpool 3 is going to be amazing. Hugh Jackman, Wolverine. You know, that's why that's the only Marvel movie. And again, the only official, like there's some Madam Web footage right there, speaking of non-official MCU movies. So again, Deadpool 3 is the only real MCU movie coming out this year. Movies like Madam Web, Venom, Morbius, those are all Sony Marvel movies because Sony still has the rights to a lot of Marvel stuff that's not real MCU material. Let's see, we got a member, Trip says, my sister and brother-in-law are Chiefs fans, but for the sake of you and Matt's sanity, I hope the Niners win. Long. Well, thank you so much, Trip. There are other things going on. I gotta hold on 1 second. 1 moment, please. I gotta reset a video here. Be right back. Okay, just had to put on a different Spider-Man video while we continue to talk about all things Super Bowl. What does Spider-Man have to do with the Super Bowl? Absolutely nothing. But again, if you were here before, you know that you know that I did have a lot of good NFL Chiefs and 49ers footage going on, but then the video got flagged and taken down, so I had to restart the video and I just put on some generic Spider-Man footage courtesy of Mr. Sunday Movies. Any hoozles, you know, Spider Bowl 2024. So we talked about all the trailers that are going to be premiering during the Super Bowl. You know, we could talk commercials. I know that there's going to be some, you know, really cool commercials. You know, again, we talk about the Arnold Schwarzenegger State Farm commercial. It's going to be some kind of weird, like, Terminator hybrid. He has to save Jake from State Farm or something like that. It'll be cheesy, but maybe funny. We're also going to be getting a commercial with Gronk from, you know, he was with the Patriots, then he moved to Tampa Bay, and now he's retired. But we got Gronk in a commercial with the late Carl Weathers, and I don't think I've had a chance to talk about Carl Weathers on any of my streams yet, but obviously the amazing, yes, AJ Bulls put plus we lost Carl Weathers. The amazing Carl Weathers. He was Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies. He was in Predator. And of course, he played the magistrate in The Mandalorian. I don't know if they've filmed the 4th season of The Mandalorian, but man, it's going to be depressing just having them just like talk about him in the past tense. I really thought he was going to go all the way and get into that Mandalorian movie that's coming out in a couple years. But, you know, it's not just about the Mandalorian. The man was, like, you know, a terrific actor, an incredible presence, a great man, and he will be missed. One of the prolific actors of our time. And it's a shame. It just, his early passing is a true shame because, you know, he's just, you know, he's just incredible. So, sorry about why I had nothing to do with it, but I'm saying sorry anyway. But sorry, Carl Weathers, may he rest in peace, and we will miss him deeply and truly. But he's going to be in a commercial during the Super Bowl with Gronk. So it's kind of like his last hurrah. So, we'll get to see that. I heard that they've had to re-edit the trailer. I don't know why. I guess they just wanted to re-edit it to make sure that it was respectful and everything. So, yeah, I am curious to see what it's all about. Anyways, getting back to the Super Bowl. Again, so I wanted to talk about the Super Bowl movie trailers and the commercials and everything, just so we could have some fun, because I know that most of my fans are probably not sports fans. But now that I've kind of led in with all the fun stuff, and we got some Spider-Man and Marvel footage happening in the background, let's actually talk about the game itself and why I think the 49ers are going to win, regardless of me being a 49ers fan. It has a lot to do with the offensive line. And I know this is probably where I'll lose some of you, but I'll make this part as quick as possible. The offensive line. On the Chiefs side of things, you have, of course, Patrick Mahomes, great quarterback, accurate, is good on his feet, and he throws a lot to Travis Kelce, great tight end, I don't really care for Taylor Swift. I know a lot of people have talked about Taylor Swift, and ultimately, yeah, he's dating Taylor Swift. But for the sake of the game, it doesn't really matter. I know that the CBS cameras will, every time that Travis Kelce gets a touchdown, they'll pan those cameras up to Taylor Swift so that people can see Taylor Swift. Woo, whatever. I don't care. But it doesn't matter. It is what it is. I'm not a fan of Taylor Swift, but I'm not really going to be thinking of Taylor Swift during this game at all. It doesn't matter. I know a lot of people have invested time into thinking of oh, what's Taylor gonna do? Is she gonna propose to Travis? Is he gonna propose to her? And all this blah, blah, blah. It's no, I don't think anything's gonna happen, because Travis Kelce, assuming that the Chiefs do win this Super Bowl, it's a Chiefs win, and I can't imagine that Travis Kelce would do anything to take away from the victory of the Chiefs, because if he was to propose to Taylor Swift, that would then make the moment about him instead of the Chiefs. And I don't really see him doing that. So I don't think that that's going to happen. But I also don't think the Chiefs are going to win. Because then we have the 49ers offensive line. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, It's an incredible offensive line, and we've had during the Super Bowl ramp week over in Las Vegas, we've had interviews with Steve Young, interviews from Joe Montana, Deion Sanders, and they all say the same thing that the alleged expert analysts won't say, which is that Brock Purdy is not just a game manager, but a terrific quarterback and doing an elite job. I've had a lot of time to think about all this, and been watching a lot of sports stuff, but in the sports world, a lot of people have been putting Brock Purdy down for no reason. And really, he has been doing an awesome job. That comeback win in the second half of the game versus the Lions, I feel like that everyone's like, well, he hasn't won a comeback game yet. Well, now he did, and they're like, well, he's still not an elite quarterback. It's it's never enough. Keep in mind that Tom Brady had to win 3 Super Bowls before people were like, oh, well, I guess he's good. Now he's retired, but he won 7 Super Bowls. But you have to remember, there was a time where people thought that Tom Brady was a joke. Or he's only good because of his offensive line. People eventually shut up because he kept winning. I think that the same thing is going to happen to Brock Purdy. He's going to get a lot of disrespect until he overachieves. And then he'll get that respect. Kansas City, I was very surprised they won against the Ravens. They don't have the greatest, besides Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they don't really have the greatest of anything right now. And again, it was statistically the worst year out of Patrick Mahomes' 6 years as quarterback. This was his worst year. And I know people are like, but he's so great that his worst is, but still, it was his worst. And if you look at what the Niners have been doing, I do think that they have the skills to overcome the Chiefs. And the only reason the 49ers will lose, if they lose, is because they choke or they lose focus and, the game gets ahead of them. It's the 49ers game to lose. And I'll use the thing I used for the, like the Ravens. I say the Ravens didn't, or I should say the Chiefs didn't win that AFC Championship game. The Ravens lost it. The 49ers will win the Super Bowl, or they'll lose it. The Chiefs won't win. The 49ers will lose. And I hope that sentiment makes sense to some of you. But anyways, enough about that. I do think that the 49ers are going to win this. I'll be greatly upset if they don't. But I think that that's basically all I wanted to say. I think that, I've kept this podcast pretty quick and concise. If anybody has any more questions, you've got 30 seconds to type up any questions that you want me to answer. Otherwise, I think that that's basically going to do it for my Super Bowl ramp-up podcast. I probably would have gone a little bit longer, but I was a little discouraged that my first one got canceled and I couldn't actually show the football footage. But anyways, yeah. Waiting for questions. I think maybe that's it. AJ says, I hope it isn't a blowout. People do say that sort of thing. Like, oh, I want it to be a nice, close game the whole time. But it's like, I understand if you're not a fan of either team, a blowout is kind of disappointing because you're just watching one team run amok on the other, and close games are really exciting for the Super Bowl. But again, as a fan of the 49ers, I would like to see them just dominate the Chiefs. Personally. But, that's just me. Anyways, I guess that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much, everybody who was here. Again, before you leave, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Super important. And, don't forget to please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Don't forget to become a member of the RichAlvarez channel. And that's going to do it for me. Anyways, I hope you guys all have a good Super Bowl day. And we'll see you next time on the RichCast. Bye-bye.